Hello everyone, I am Professor Pride and the Dean of Students here at the Pride Classroom. I know our students are from all around the world and every walk of life. We are the most diverse student body on earth. That diversity makes us beautiful in so many different ways. But the fact that we can love and accept each other, no matter how diverse our student body is, that's what gives me hope that our world is much better than many of us realize it is, because there's good people in this world like you. Today is the end of a school year for many of you, and tomorrow begins the next step in your journey. Whether that next step is the next grade level in your school, the college of your choice, enlisting in the military, or even the first job to start your career. And having sat where you're sitting now, I know that the future being unknown can be scary, which is why I wanted to share with you a few things I've learned along my path. Things I wish I was told back 11 years ago when I graduated from high school. So first, don't be afraid of the unknown. There's nothing you can do about it anyway, and you'll end up just missing out on so much in life by trying to control it. Instead, be afraid of leaving this world the same way you found it. That fear will cause you to try to make the world a better place. And if we all can come together and do that, the next generation sitting where you're sitting now will have a much easier time. Second, soak in every bit of knowledge you can, no matter how useless you might assume that knowledge will be to you someday. When I was in school, I thought I didn't need any of the lessons I was being taught in classrooms. Writing essays for literature class, learning algebra and accounting, learning how the American Revolution was won, and so on. All of these things I thought were useless are things I now use every day on my job. You see, back when I was in middle school, I started a company and began touring my home state of Pennsylvania as a singer-songwriter. My name was even on the marquee sign outside of big box theaters for sold-out shows. So I laughed at many of my teachers back then who were just teaching me things for the standardized testing system we were forced to take. I thought if I got rich enough or famous enough, I could simply hire the right people who were smarter than I was and filled in those gaps of my education. But by the time I got to high school, I wasn't rich or famous yet, at least not enough to hire people. So I had to do it all by myself with whatever help I could beg for from my dad. Even by the time I graduated high school in 2010, I was running a lighting and sound company, helping with events across the state. But I still thought those classes in school were useless to me, so I rarely paid attention and I rarely got good grades. By the time college rolled around, I was finally studying filmmaking and audio production, which is what I really wanted to study in the first place. So I could direct events much easier. But I hated the general education classes we were forced to take. I was finally in college, so I couldn't understand why I had to take a class on professional presentations, advanced algebra, marketing, and I hated having to continue writing essays. Even more so, I hated having to read entire books in a week just because our professor forgot to mention the book needed to be read at the beginning of the semester. I got out of college and resented the fact that I went in the first place. In fact, it took me a long time to hang my degree on the wall in my office. But there were some good things that came out of college. For instance, that professional presentations class helped me prepare for scripts every day for my TV show Now. That algebra class helped me design stages that won't fall and hurt anyone in the audience. That marketing class helped me advertise my business better. And personally, I met this boy named Jeff, who I partnered with on almost every video production project for class. I shortly realized I had a big crush on him. Sure, it broke my heart in two when I found out he had a boyfriend, but in a way, he taught me that these feelings were normal to have and showed me that we all someday find the partner we can share our success and our failures with. Only then, when I looked back and realized all I had learned in those college years, was I finally proud of hanging my degree on the wall in my office. After college, I started working for a national big box store called Tractor Supply. I didn't know the first thing about being a farmer or anything about their store, but that job taught me how to think fast on my feet. After that, I worked for a lighting and sound company nearby, and even designed an entire stage system for the vice president, who later went on to be the president, Joe Biden. That job taught me to stand up for myself because my boss was a notorious homophobe who harassed his employees constantly. So he taught me how to treat my employees the right way, and that job helped me realize that my mental health was much more important than a paycheck. Years after those jobs, I started a YouTube channel, and it quickly blew up to be broadcasted in schools around the world. I still have my company, and we still do video, photography, lighting, sound, staging, and even still perform music. But where I am today is a far cry from the dreams I had when I was sitting in my cap and gown graduating high school. I had no idea I would have a TV show, help over 2 million people come out of the closet a little easier than I did, have my children's books on the shelves of schools I attended, and I had no idea just how much I would rely on the lessons my teachers were trying to help me learn. My high school literature teacher was named Mrs. Portland. She would read over our essays and mark any mistakes we made. But I used to hate the fact that she actually checked all of our sources. She read through the entire articles I was quoting from to make sure I was keeping the quote in the context of the original story. And I hated it back then. But nowadays, I write scripts every day for my job here on YouTube, and every day I credit her hard work back then as for why I'm an accredited reporter and TV show host. My math and accounting teacher, Mr. Mattia, would teach us far more than we ever had to know in high school. But nowadays, I run a company with freelancer employees, with dozens of jobs going on at one time, and I wouldn't be able to continue making the content that I make for clients or for YouTube without his advice 11 years ago. Our school health and sex education teacher, Mrs. Broughton, had a system in class where every student would submit anonymous questions every week on Thursdays. The following day, she would read off all the questions and answer them honestly and openly. I was the only student in class asking how gay relationships worked, how the adoption process worked, and how my relationship with a man would someday go. She was the only person I ever hinted to back then that I was gay. She recognized my handwriting and answered all of my questions after class, so I wouldn't be outed to the other students. Her class and her openness about answering delicate questions led me to make a gay relationships and sex ed course on my YouTube channel. Her understanding and compassion helped me be a better professor that 2 million kids could look up to for advice nowadays. My publications teacher, Mrs. Zweibel, taught me the skill set which later allowed me to make catchy thumbnails for my videos. My drama club teacher, Mrs. Malik, taught me how to be a better actor, the skill set to project my voice for an audience, lighting and sound techniques, and so many more skills that I still use every single day. My point is that I hated school so much back then. I hated waking up at 6:30 in the morning. I hated walking to my next class on the opposite side of the building and only having 4 minutes to get there. I hated coming home and having mountains of homework and tests to study for. But in my years after I graduated, I've come to realize all the great things I've learned, which make me a better professor, a better employer, and business owner, and a much better version of myself. So my second piece of advice is to soak in everything you can, because you never know what lessons you'll end up needing someday. And along with that comes my third piece of advice. You can dream as big as you want to, but don't be surprised if your dreams change or evolve. As my dreams evolved over the years, I always felt like I was chasing after something I would never find. But as it turns out, each time my company and my dream evolved, it was yet another lesson or another skill set that was leading me to be who I am today. And I truly feel like I'm right where I was always meant to be in life, but I wouldn't be surprised if my dreams evolved again. So whatever it is you're dreaming about right now, don't get in your own way and try to stop it from evolving in the future years, because, newsflash, it was meant to evolve. As you begin this new chapter in your life, realize this new chapter is one you write for yourself. In fact, it's the first time you get to write your own chapter here. One of the best things I've learned is that everyone around us fits into two categories. One, the family we are born with, and two, the family we choose. In this new chapter of your life, look at everyone around you, from your relatives, friends, coworkers, classmates, and friendly acquaintances. Take a moment to put them into these two categories. Sure, there are family members who we are related to and therefore are forced to hang out with on holidays. But that doesn't automatically mean they will love us or accept us for who we are inside. Take it from someone who lives that truth. Plenty of times mothers don't want their children. Other times grandfathers throw their kids out for being gay. And friends just sometimes leave. So please realize, as you grow up, that it's the family you choose which you should hold close to your heart and love the most. And it's the family members that choose not to love you in return that you should stay away from. Basically speaking, get rid of the toxic people in your life as soon as possible, because as any biology student can tell you, one drop of toxin can pollute an entire lake of water. But as for the family we choose in life, cherish every moment you have with them. Life has no guarantee of how long they will be here to share it with us, and there is no guarantee of how long we have to share it with them. So while today is a celebration of the ending of one chapter in your life and the beginning of the next, please take a moment in that next chapter to hug those you love a little tighter. Reach out to old friends you haven't spoken to in a while, and make time to create lasting memories with those you love. Next, as much as the fairy tales, the teachers, your parents, and so on might have told you this next part as a child, that doesn't mean it was true. Karma is not real. Sure, there are happy coincidences in life where the cop pulls over the guy trying to show off his sports car, but karma is not guaranteed. Billionaires can just change the laws they want to break. Hate groups can push kids to suicide with no repercussions, and politicians can keep changing the rules so they can stay in power without needing to answer to the people they represent. I know at the surface this might sound like there's no incentive anymore to be a good person, but trust me, there are still plenty of reasons to be a good person in life. Without being a good person, our world would descend into chaos, and there needs to be good people like you to drown out the bad other people will do. As a great writer once said in a musical called Big Fish, quote, "Be the hero of your story if you can. Be the champion in the fight, not just the man. Don't depend on other people to put paper next to pen. Be the hero of your story, and then." My former teacher and drama club director, Mrs. Malik, recently brought up that line in her commencement address to my old high school this year. And she emphasized the last two words there, and then. Because really, it's up to us what path we take next. It's up to us whether we're the hero of the story or the villain. Are we the person to help make the world a better place, or are we the evil that tries to destroy it? You see, karma is not real, because there's no guaranteed reward the world will give us for being a good person. We're not promised money or fame for our actions. No one is going to give us $1 million for helping our grandmother in the last days of her life. No one is going to make us famous for reaching out to the kid who we see as being bullied online and just try to help them realize they aren't alone. No one is going to give us an award for helping that local charity. But the best reward of all for those actions of kindness can be found in our own hearts. We can sleep easier at night knowing we helped make the world slightly better. We can feel warm and fuzzy inside because we spread love instead of hatred. Karma is not real in terms of the rewards we automatically assume we should receive. Instead, it is a concept which only gets rewarded inside of ourselves. My next piece of advice is one that only a photographer can best tell you the importance of. Take plenty of pictures along your trails. Someday you won't remember every detail. Someday your mind will start to forget the things which made you happiest. When that time comes, You'll want photos in your scrapbook to look back on and think fondly of. So, when you're out with friends, at dinner with your family, got that promotion at work you worked so hard for, on that second date with someone you're falling so hard for, signed that contract for your first apartment or house, took that vacation you planned for so many months, or maybe sat in that chair waiting for the commencement speaker to get finished with his speech. I promise it's over soon. Take photos in your mind and on your cameras so you can remember every moment of it. Last but not least, find your happiness. Working a job for 40 years that you hate might drive you mad, but there's plenty of jobs out there. So go chase a career that you might love more. And if that doesn't work, try again. Because like I said, dreams can change and evolve all the time. Even if you end up working a job for 40 years that you hate, find your happiness that the paycheck you receive helps you provide for the family you love. For you, happiness might be defined as working a career you enjoy, or starting a family, or it might be found helping a charity or a church on the weekends. For me, I set myself a goal in life, not one of money or fame, but a checklist of personal goals to find a boyfriend, a house, and a dog. And while I have yet to find any of those three things, those goals keep me working hard every day. Those goals give me inspiration to keep fighting onward, to find my personal definition of happiness. And that's a lesson I wish someone told me when I was sitting in the chairs at my graduation. There is no broad definition of happiness, because happiness is defined on a personal level. I wish someone was there to tell me that loving another man was completely fine, so I could start chasing my happiness 11 years ago. I wish someone was there to tell my classmates that the sex they were assigned at birth should not define the gender they see in the mirror, so they can start living their authentic selves sooner. My point is, the happiness we strive for should not be outlined by anyone else but ourselves. And it's perfectly fine to take your time to figure out how you define happiness. But while I cannot tell you what your slice of happiness should be, I can certainly tell you from experience that it is worth chasing. So take tonight and celebrate, but tomorrow morning, start chasing it. Thank you.